We're back with our 12 weeks to 12 major scales video series. This week we're on E major scale. This is the first video this week. Be sure to have your flute ready to play along with me. As we do in every video, we'll start by building our scale using some type of method. For every first video of the week, we use the lines in the piano. For every second video of the week, we use the chromatic scale in the piano. And then every third video, we use the circle of fifths. Be sure to try and do this along with me. The more you do it, the better you get at understanding the theory behind the scales, and it makes memorizing them easier. From there, we will play some exercises, some that I created and some from public domain, and then we will end the video playing the major scale a few times at a few different tempos, and the goal is to memorize 3 notes today. Let's get started. So let's first apply the letters to the keys on the keyboard so that drawing the lines will make it easier. We know where to begin and where to end. Remember, a scale is 8 notes within an octave, and it will begin and end on the same note. Now let's use our lines in the whole and half step major scale pattern to determine which notes are either sharp, flat, or natural. After we've applied the lines, apply the half blocks to every single line, both the angled lines and the horizontal lines. Every line represents a half step, so now we can apply our whole and half step pattern to these by circling it based on what it tells us. The best way to do this, if you were doing this on paper, is to either scratch out each whole and half step word as you go along, and if it says whole, you'll circle 2 of the half blocks, and if it says half, you'll only circle 1. This time I changed the colors of the lines where we will apply the dots so we know exactly which keys belong within the E major scale. And to know which lines to follow to apply your dots to your keys, you should trace down from the line to the key that belongs to the second half step in the circle, if you circle 2 half steps, or if it was just a half step, then you just trace that line down to whatever key it's pointing at. From there, we can eliminate everything but the letters and the dots, and we can figure out which ones are going to be sharp, flat, or natural. If the dot landed on a white key, that means that it will be a natural. If it landed on a black key, we will make it a sharp. I applied some arrows pointing from the white key letter to the black key beside it. That's to help you to understand that whatever letter is beside the black key where we have the dot, you'll know that that black key is that letter plus a sharp. So therefore, our E major scale is E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. Now let's make sure we're confident in those sharp notes. Make sure we know exactly what those sharp notes are. Just like we discussed in our A major lesson, the G sharp and the A flat are the same note. It's just 2 different note names. We call that an enharmonic spelling. So if you're looking at the white key to the left of the black key, then it's going to be that letter plus a sharp. If you're looking at the white key that's to the right of the black key, it's going to be that letter plus flat. However, when we apply this to our flute, G sharp and A flat will have the same fingerings. Same goes for C sharp and D flat. The white key to the left of the black key is C, so therefore that black key will be C sharp, and the white key to the right of the black key is D, so therefore that same key is D flat. So if you know that D flat is pinky only, that means that C sharp will also be pinky only. And same goes for D sharp and E flat. The white key to the left of the black key is D, and the white key to the right of the black key is E. So that means in the middle, it will be D sharp and E flat. Same fingerings. If you know E flat fingerings, then you know D sharp fingerings. And finally, our last sharp in our E major scale, which is F sharp, and it is the same thing as G flat. We've built our scale, and now we know the fingerings of each of the sharp notes. Now let's get familiar with those notes that we're not usually used to playing. Like I mentioned previously, usually we're all most familiar with the notes within the B flat scale. So in my opinion, memorizing scales is just a matter of creating habits around notes that we're not used to or that we don't play very often. Especially if you're a high school member or an intermediate musician, you're more than likely playing most of your music in the key of B flat or close to it. So if we compare the B flat scale to the E major scale, you'll notice that many of the notes are different. That means that we have even more notes to become familiar with, but no worries, I wrote a good exercise to really help us get comfortable with those. So the notes that are different in the E major scale from the B flat scale are E natural, F sharp, G sharp, B natural, C sharp, and D sharp. Like I said, that's a lot of notes. That's 6 of the 8 notes. So let's play an exercise to get ourselves really comfortable with those notes. This one I segmented in sections 1.1, 1.2, 2.1, 2.2, 3.1, and 3.2. What we'll do is we'll play 1.1 and 1.2 back to back, and then I'll recount us off for 2.1 and 2.2, and same for 3.1 and 3.2. By that point, you'll be more comfortable with the first 3 notes within the E major scale, and the exercises following will help us to build confidence around the other notes within the scale. 1, 2, ready, play. Here's 2.1 and 2.2. 1, 2, ready, play. And here's 3.1 and 3.2. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, hopefully you're getting more comfortable with that E, F sharp, and G sharp combination. Those are really odd. That's not really a pattern that we normally play when we're more of an intermediate musician. So the more we do it, the more comfortable it'll get. Little exercises like this is all about just building those habits and making it feel more familiar and more comfortable. Let's move on to our next piece. This is a public domain piece. We'll play this piece 3 different tempos at tempo 80, 92, and 100. Now, the previous exercise did not expose us to the D sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. But if you've already went through our A major scale, you should be somewhat familiar with the F sharp and G sharp combination. Just make sure you apply those to this one as well. But don't forget that we will play D sharp instead of D naturals. With us being used to the B flat scale, that means that you've got to get used to thinking of pinky down, E flat, which is what you probably know it most as, is also D sharp. Anytime you see D, Just think pinky down in this one. Here's tempo 80. 1, 2, ready, play. Here's tempo 92. 1, 2, ready, play. And tempo 100. 1, 2, ready, play. Here's our next piece. We'll do the same thing, tempo 80, tempo 92, and tempo 100. This is more in that middle range of our flute rather than the lower range, so let's get comfortable with those notes. Here's tempo 80. 1, 2, ready, play. Tempo 92. 1, 2, ready, play. And tempo 100. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, one last piece with our 3 tempos, tempo 80, 92, and 100. Then we'll move on to memorizing a couple notes in our E major scale and playing the full scale. Tempo 80. 1, 2, ready, play. Tempo 92. 1, 2, ready, play. And tempo 100. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, moving on, we will play our E major scale, looking at it at tempo 100, then we will move to quarter notes at tempo 100, then we will play it as written, but we will work that one up in tempo. So we will start with 80, 92, then 100. Then we will end the video playing the scale again, but having memorized 3 of the notes. 1, 2, ready, play. tempo 100 using quarter notes. 1, 2, ready, play. Let's try playing it as written, looking at it 3 times at tempo 80, 92, and 100, and then we'll try to memorize a few notes. Here's tempo 80. 1, 2, ready, play. Tempo 92. 1, 2, ready, play. And tempo 100. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, let's try the same thing, but now you have to memorize 3 of the notes. And that's going to be F sharp, G sharp, and A going up, and A, G sharp, and F sharp going down. I wrote this the same way that I did in the A major video. If it's helpful, let me know. If it's not, also let me know. But this way, I wrote it so where you know which rhythms to play, but I eliminated the notes that you need to memorize. Let's try it at tempo 80, 92, and 100. 1, 2, ready, play. Tempo 92. 1, 2, ready, play. And tempo 100. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, that's all for this video. Hopefully each of these videos are helpful. Like I always say, please be sure to let me know in the comments if there's any way I can make these better for you. If you like the way they are, give it a thumbs up so I know, or I'm just gonna keep on going the way I'm doing it with the systems that I have. But my goal is to make these videos for you, for the students who need it, who need to memorize their scales, and to help hopefully make that a little bit of an easier process for you and a little bit more enjoyable for you. The next video will also be on E major. That's where we will use the piano and the chromatic scale to build our scale. We will memorize a few more notes within the scale, and then we'll start working on the arpeggio. I'll see you next video.